everyone, hello dear viewers, and welcome back to Blinky'S Bloom. And in today's video, I want to share you a story about me and how I managed to overcome self-love and body positivity. I never really knew I was fat. I never really knew I was black, not in the way the world sees me, until I left Africa. Back home, I was just me. I was a person before I was a body. I was a soul before I was a skin color. Then suddenly I traveled. My identity never was the same again. It was not something I defined. It was something the world defines for me. I saw a mental shift. It's funny how an environment shapes the way you see yourself. Back in Africa, we had beauty standards, but seriously, I never felt like people were projecting my weight and my body size on me. As I traveled and experienced something else, we are not saying when you're fat or overweight in Africa, people don't tell you you're overweight, but it's not like a projected something. It's just like common that everybody is overweight. People are at a certain weight, like not too slim, not too big, just in the middle. But when I traveled, it became something else. I had to redefine the way I see and love myself. In Africa, yes, we have beauty standards, but my body was just my body. It was not something like my weight was constantly projected on me. Like, okay, this weight is not good for you. My whole life did not revolve around my weight. People did not identify me because of my weight. People did not love me because of my weight. It never came to me for once that my weight could stop me from doing things or achieving so many things. Like after I traveled and left Africa, I understood that there are some journeys that you have to undergo to identify who you are. No one made me feel like I was too big or I occupied so much space until I traveled to Asia, where everything changed. Every aspect of how I view myself. Suddenly, I noticed that I was overweight, I was fat, and it was not just in my head or in my thoughts. It was how people physically will look at you right into your face and make you feel that way. They will point at you when you move around. They will laugh at you in front of you. They will tell you you are black. Why are you so black? They will ask you so many questions. Why are you overweight? Why don't you want to lose weight? All those things. It was so glaring that I never experienced this back home. I never. Back home, they wanted to talk to you about this. It would have been not directly, might be like a gossip or something, but this one was different. It was all about pointing you to your face, talking to you to your face, even moving and people talking about it. Even kids like comment on your weight is normal. So that changed everything. That changed my perspective. That changed my body positivity, but that changed my way of loving myself. In some places, some people stare at you, some people will giggle about you, and some people will even point and say some hateful comments that could just spoil your day and annoy you. The worst experience of mine was the point where they have to even talk about your skin color and make you feel like you're just this strange being, when someone has to ask you questions about why you're too black or touch you and wipe it to see if your skin is gonna move some dirt or your color is dirt or something like that. It was so annoying that it made me not want to leave my house. Like I was just the person who would just leave home and go to job and job home. I never loved staying outdoors because outdoors was like traumatizing. When you go outdoors, you feel like people want to touch your hair. Oh, what's the hair you're putting on? What's this kind of hair? They'll touch your skin color. They'll touch your skin. And why are you big? Why are you fat? And you don't want to lose weight. Anyone could call you fat and ugly. Even on their social media platforms, like when foreigners post. It's normal for people to comment under your post telling you you're fat and ugly, you should go back to Africa. It's never for them considered offensive. For me, it felt like a reality check I wasn't really able to deal with or willing to deal with. It was like your beauty was supposed to be questioned. The way you felt about you just suddenly became something strange. You start feeling like you have to become something to fit in. That feeling has never left me, and I sometimes still feel that way, even after all these years, even after sometimes gaining back my self-confidence, gaining back my body positivity and walking through it. But sometimes I still can't get enough of that feeling. And in Africa, it was a little bit more cordial, more relaxing. It was an experience that was more cordial, like you couldn't feel the heat about it, because most of the times we know Africa projects a lot of women to be curvy, right? And that's how we see beauty. In Africa, I never felt like this, even if sometimes you could have relatives or friends telling you, oh, you've added weight. It was like in a nice way. They will tell you you've added weight in a nice way. When you go out there, you saw women like you who dressed well, who looked good, who looked at life in a very, very nice way. They went out there, they were all out there giving themselves to life, experiencing the beauty about life, even in their different body shapes and sizes, they could experience life. But here, when I moved, was different. It was totally different. The life I saw back home and the life here became something I had to deal with. Constant changes about my mindset had to come in place. Imagine being in a place where your weight and skin color is supposed to tell you how much you're going to strive, how much you're going to get jobs, how much you're going to be appreciated, how much you're going to be seen as beautiful. I never saw this coming. Never did I see it coming. Let me tell you about what we know back home. I didn't know being black was a thing. In Africa, truth be told, many people who are in Africa don't know that they are black until they travel. I don't know. If you've traveled and you're watching this channel, I think you can resonate with this. You can understand what I'm talking about. I never knew I was black. In Africa, nobody tells you if you're black. Even if you're light skinned, we don't even talk about it. It's not a discussion like even describing people, oh, she's light or she's black or blah, 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 blah. No, we don't. We don't. We don't even describe people if they are skinny or they're fat or they're... So outside was a different mentality. The truth is, many people in Africa, when they hear about racism or they hear about all these things, they just feel like it's a myth. Like it's a myth until you travel, until you change your environment, until you come into a new environment, then you start feeling like, oh, so you can be identified. I was identified at that time. I never knew I could be identified. So now I'm being identified like that fat black girl. That, like, I don't know, self-love, body positivity. I lost everything. The truth is, I don't know wherever you are watching this video, in the Asian culture and tradition or whatsoever, commenting rudely about someone's weight is a normal phenomenon. It is not criticized at all. It's normal for someone to comment about your weight and see you like you're too fat. It's a normal phenomenon. Right down to kids, they do it. Right down to kids, they comment about your skin color. So it's a trajectory that you couldn't just change. Like you couldn't just, it's something indebted in this society you are now. You cannot change it. You can only learn to love yourself. And it was so traumatizing. You were treated special only when you have a white color, you're a white, and you're a slim person. Yes, then you are treated as beautiful, as special. But if you're a black and fat person, you're treated differently. It was just a feeling that I've never experienced, and for the first time I had to experience it. And I couldn't really, I'm a very, very emotional person. I couldn't really find myself in juggling with all this in my head. Like, is this for real? Are we really, is this happening? It took me time, yes. It took me time to adjust and adapt and to fit into the society I found myself in. For me, it felt like a reality check I didn't ask for or I wasn't willing to deal with. Then there was a race. Back home, blackness is not even a conversation because we all are black. But when I traveled, blackness became something I had to deal with every day of my life. Getting turned down on jobs, getting looked down on, getting refused or called not beautiful. All of this just came in like something I wasn't really ready to deal with. Why did I leave Africa? Sometimes I'll ask myself, why did I leave Africa? I would have just been there and be appreciated where I am. Of course, like they always say, go back to Africa. Go back to Africa. Because that is where you feel much more comfortable, no matter where you travel to, no matter how much you give in out there. Africa is home. That is where you feel comfortable and you can feel the wind of change. You can feel the wind of acceptance, which is beautiful. Now abroad, I became the black person. People wanting to know why you're black, wanting to know if your skin is dirt or it's just a color. People wanting to take photos of you. You're sitting in the subway and people drastically moving away from you. I didn't get it. I never got it. And I'm still trying to get it. I became an exhibit. It was like I was in an exhibition show or a spectacle, sometimes in a good way, sometimes not. So I had to learn that in some countries, people are not really trying to be offensive. They are just ignorant. Like my Chinese friends always tell me, oh, don't mind them. They are just ignorant. But being ignorant didn't really take out the feeling of being othered, of being looked down on. It never really took out that feeling. The feeling was there. I knew most of them are ignorant. They are not that exposed. So it's something they are new to and they're ignorant. They want to know. But I never really saw like your ignorance should make you mannerless, you know. Yeah, you can be ignorant and want to find out, but being mannerless is not something I will go for. So I still never saw that the feeling of being othered left me. No. Because back in Africa, your only label is, oh, you're poor or you're rich. You never had any label to you except you being poor or you being rich. And you understand when you leave home, when you japa, as we normally call it, that you have a bigger battle to fight. That you have to prove to yourself, to love yourself, to see yourself as worthy of you. You have to be much more contented. That's why I had to go for a niche like this, because this niche embodies a lot of experience for me. I dealt with so much doubt about how I am. Body positivity, self-love was something taken away from me. I couldn't feel it anymore. At a point in time, I had to question so many things about me and about if I'm truly that person I used to be. I hope someday, somehow, we get to experience this in different parts of the world. The truth is, traveling made me hyper aware. It made me understand how different cultures perceive beauty, race, weight, and identity, which made me question things I never ever thought I would ever question before. I started questioning so many things. But you know what else? It made me stronger. It made me know or see how much of our self-worth is based on where we are, who we surround ourselves with, and the messages we consume. But truly, surely, I'm happy I left home. If I never left home, I would have never understood the weight no pun of global beauty standards and identity politics. which now I know better. It also made me aware of my weight, and I became weight conscious, and I started looking at my weight differently. I started putting effort. I started seeing that I need to make a change, a transformation, which has helped me positively. So to anyone who has ever felt this culture shock, I see you. And to all those who have traveled and realized that they are being seen differently than the way they never thought before, you are not alone. Just know that your worth isn't determined by the standard of the country you find yourself in or the society you find yourself in. Traveling opens your eyes, no doubt. It also makes you to learn how to stand firm, to be self-aware, and to be conscious. And most importantly, to know who you are is the most powerful lesson of it all. Be proud of who you are no matter where you go. Let's keep the conversation coming. Tell me more about where you've traveled to and how different you've become. What has changed? Is there a mindset shift? Are you being seen different from where you left? Let's give that in the comment section. Tell me more about your story if traveling has changed you. Tell me about your experience and the culture shock in the countries you found yourself in. And don't forget to drop a comment below. I would like to hear from you. And if this is your first time of seeing this face or coming across this video, please do not forget to hit the like button, subscribe to this YouTube channel, and turn on your notification bell so that each time I upload a new video, you get notified about it. Let's continue to bloom and share love and our experiences as we travel the world. See you, Anne.